Okay, great. Can I have a roll call, please?
Janice Strand,
Here?
Steve Egan,
Here.
Elizabeth Shower, Ashley Warren,
Here.
Leslie Asher,
Here.
Teresa Maggio,
Here.
Margaret Wilson, Molly Young.
Here.
Thank you, Lance. And I will turn attention to the board right now for the approval of tonight's agenda, please.
Make a motion to approve tonight's agenda.
May I have a second?
I'll second.
All in favor?
Aye.
Any opposed? Thank you. Next item is our approval of the previous meeting minutes from January 16th, 2020. Did you all get a chance to review them?
I'll make a motion to approve the previous meeting minutes from January 16th, 2020.
May I have a second?
I'll second the motion.
All in favor?
Aye.
Any opposed? Motion passes. On our agenda tonight, we are going to, item number 1 is the discussion of the 2020 Village Surtax Expenditure Report. And I'll turn the floor over to Nelsa.
Thank you, Madam Chair. Tonight, we have with us Mr. Hugh Dunkley, Finance Director from the village, and Mr. Doug Chambers, Public Works Director. And as you see in your package, there is a memo prepared by Mr. Dunkley. So I would like to turn it over also to our legal counsel, Barnett.
Sure, just very quickly, you guys are old pros now. I think this is your 3rd year of this, but just a reminder of your task here tonight. This committee has 2 jobs tonight, the first of which is to determine, based on the presentation that village staff is going to give you, whether the village's expenditure of surtax proceeds for the fiscal year is consistent with the requirements of section 212-055 subpart 2 Florida statutes and the ballot language approved by the voters. Essentially, that statutory section is the infrastructure definition that we'll talk about, that those proceeds were expended on things that fit within the definition of infrastructure under the law. The second thing you're tasked with evaluating tonight is whether the village's expenditures of surtax proceeds for the fiscal year was consistent with the village council's approved surtax proceeds expenditures, and you'll hear village staff talk about that. But just as a reminder, generally speaking, you're looking back. So the village has spent the funds. Your job now is to say, were those funds spent consistent with state law, which defines what the money can be used for in terms of infrastructure projects, and was the expenditure something that the village council had approved as part of their expenditure plan for the year. So those are your 2 items for tonight. And with that, I'll turn it over to village staff.
Good evening, everyone. My name is Hugh Dunkley, and most of you have met before, but without further saying, I'll just jump right into the report. So basically, the summary of the activity for the infrastructure surtax funds is as follows. The fiscal year.
I want to make sure that everybody has the right report, because I see you guys are looking at the capital improvement.
This one?
The report is just that.
Oh,
Yeah, I see most of.
over here, I got it, okay.
No, yes, it's very, very important that we look at the right document,
Yeah, okay, okay.
because we have too many things going on tonight.
Yeah, I'm so sorry. Just let me know whenever everyone is on the correct page. So the total infrastructure tax receipts for the year was $404,869.99. We had interest income of $3,484.26. Expenditures for the year, which included a fiscal 19 latent adjustment. As a result of the audit, we had to do a slight adjustment to the books to recognize an expenditure of $10,836.50. So that leaves us with a balance at the end of the year of $518,250.37. In terms of the specific items of expenditure, we spent $173,000 $13.65 on Country Club sidewalk replacement phase 1. We spent another $129,008.03 for the acquisition of Harris portable radios in connection with the Northcom police venture. And the $10,836.50, which was a related pathway maintenance expenditure that I just discussed. That gives us a total fiscal 20 expenditures of $312,858.18. I just want to bring to your attention the fact that of the $518,000 roughly ending balance, we do have some of that encumbered in the form of a rescue ambulance, which we recently received and will be expending the funds for out of the $518,000 that was remaining as of September 30th. So all in all, that brings us to a balance of $219,590.09, and I'm hoping I didn't go too fast, but I'm available for any questions that you might have. And with that, I'll switch it back over to the village attorney.
And if you could, thank you, sir, if you could, just for the committee's knowledge, those expenditures, the 3 items that the village expended funds on, those are things that were approved by village council as part of their capital planning?
Yes, the 5-year capital improvement plan includes the Country Club Phase 1 sidewalk, the Harris portable radios, the Northcom venture, that was approved in the village council meeting of February 13, 2020, via resolution, I think it's, and of course I wrote that down, but nonetheless, it was approved in the February 13, 2020 regular council meeting.
Thank you, sir. And just for the committee, just one additional thing, since there is an item that I don't think you have seen before. Most of the work that the village has done in past years has been sidewalk type things, infrastructure things. So that second item, the portable radios, I just want to call to your attention that the statutory definition of infrastructure is the normal things you'd think of, like sidewalks, roadways, those kind of things that have a life expectancy of more than 5 years. But there is also another option under the infrastructure definition, which is, like he said, they purchased a fire vehicle, but the statutory definition of infrastructure also allows for equipment that has to equip those vehicles. So these radios are considered to be part of the equipment that is utilized in the police vehicle. So it does fit within the statutory definition of infrastructure. So that's a new thing you haven't seen in past years. I just wanted to make sure that you were comfortable that does fall within one of the things listed as infrastructure under the law. And with that, I can answer any questions you have.
So we did actually acquire the vehicle that you were talking about.
Yes, we did. The radios, they reside permanently. Half of them reside within the vehicle. They cannot be removed. And then the other half is on the officer's person,
Okay.
which is always in the vehicle. It's part of equipping and outfitting the vehicle. They cannot remove the radios, the ones that are fixed to the vehicle, and then the other will remain on their person.
So I have a question. So why do we have this capital improvement by funding source in our document? Like, is that just for information purposes?
That is also part of the ordinance that is coming through, is the capital improvement element. It's an attachment,
Okay,
so it was not actually related to this.
It's not
For the
related.
LPA.
okay. And then as far as the Phase 2 project for the expenditures, we don't have those documents, right? So this was Phase 1 of the Country Club Sidewalk Replacement Project, Phase 1.
Mr. Doug Chambers, Public Works Director, is here to speak about the.
I was just curious, I'm
No, it's good.
just a
Good
question.
You're the committee.
Good evening, everyone. Doug Chambers, Public Works Director. As Village Attorney mentioned and Hugh mentioned, funding was approved by Village Council for Country Club sidewalk replacement. We replaced approximately 3,000 linear feet of damaged sidewalk. I brought these pictures, but I'm not gonna pass them around, so we're all not touching the same pictures. But the sidewalk was in disrepair. It was a mess out there. And so we've been planning this for a while. We're waiting for the funds to become available and for council approval. And like I said, we replaced 3,000 linear feet of sidewalk from East Wind Circle all the way to the Village Martin County line. And it was a beautiful project in coordination with the residents. So we replaced all the sidewalk and all the entry aprons to the driveways. All of that is within the village right-of-way. Like I said, I don't want to necessarily pass these around, but if anybody wants to look at these later, I will leave them here. That was the only infrastructure project that we had last year. It was a nice project for the village. Moving forward, we're planning on Phase 2 to replace the remainder of that sidewalk on Country Club Drive and roadways and some bridge work. But that's what we had last year, and open to answer any questions that you might have on that project.
Well, I have a question then.
Sure.
So, that Bermuda Terrace, so that's a county pocket. So, how are we using Tequesta funds to pay for, are we getting any money from the county?
No, that is actually, so in front of all those homes, from Bimini all the way to, actually wraps around
Yeah.
Tequesta Drive,
Yeah?
all those homes there are unincorporated, but the village owns the right-of-way.
Great.
It's all village right-of-way. We actually have almost 15 feet into those properties that the village owns.
Okay.
So the homeowner does maintain to the road in the unincorporated and incorporated areas, but that is the village's sidewalk.
Okay.
And naturally, the village residents utilize that sidewalk as well, so
Right.
it is the village's sidewalk,
Okay.
yeah.
I always assumed it was so terrible because it was the county.
Yeah.
I'm just, for my own,
It,
I just assumed it was in the county, and so when I knew some people over there, I'm like, well, that's just that's what you get. You should annex into
Yeah.
Tequesta. So they're getting all the benefits of Tequesta.
living in Tequesta, yeah.
Yeah, but yet, yeah.
Yeah.
Okay.
That is, Steve, you mentioned, that is the worst area on Country Club Drive.
Oh,
in that
it's
area,
terrible.
Because we do not focus a lot of maintenance in that area.
And for good reason. It makes sense, so.
It needs to
okay.
be replaced. We have had,
Oh, yeah.
we've had an uptick in trip and falls, and so, you know, we want to address those hazards.
I'm a dog
and,
walker, I've seen
and
it, yeah.
mitigate those
Yeah.
issues. So we've been
Yeah.
doing that, and
Yeah.
now we just needed to go in there, because we had
Okay.
multiple layers of asphalt on top of asphalt, and it just needed to come out. So, the sidewalk was already 6 foot wide, so we left it at 6 foot wide, but we went to a 4-inch depth and then a 6-inch depth across all the driveways. And that's to accommodate cars driving over that portion of the sidewalk into the driveways.
I think you did an excellent job. My 2 cents on it, I think it's a great use of this Surtax money.
Yes.
So, that's my
Thank
comment.
you. And I
Great job.
brought this along too. We had put this out here. The project started in May. Anticipation was May 18th. We started a little bit later, about a week later, and we were wrapped up by about August 1st. And we put that out there just for the residents. We also were in contact with all the residents. We put door hangers on the doors. We were in touch with them because if they only had a single driveway, at some point we had to take out the sidewalk across their driveway. They didn't have access. So it was a lot of coordination with the residents as well. Not everybody has a circular driveway.
So Mitty, you need us to approve this?
Yes, ma'am. So your task tonight would be to make a motion, should you feel this way, that the village Their projects listed in the finance director's report are consistent with the state statute, that 212 statutory section that I mentioned, that the projects were also consistent with village council approved capital projects. So you could make just a motion to approve based on those findings.
Okay. So we'll open it to public comment. And we'll close it to public comment. Board, I'll ask for, if you have any questions, otherwise I'll ask for a motion.
I will make a motion to approve the infrastructure surtax agenda that was presented.
I'll second it.
All in favor?
Aye.
Any opposed? Motion passes unanimously. Thank you, gentlemen, for your presentations. They were very well done.
We all look forward to this once a year presentation.
Okay, next item we'll have is our staff comments.
Any staff comments for? Okay.
No comment? Okay. Board comment? And may I have a motion to adjourn?
I'll make a motion to adjourn.
Do we have a second?
I'll second
All in favor?
Aye.
Okay, we'll adjourn, we'll call it 5:47.
Give me 1 second.
Sure, Lance, you let me know when you're ready.